Hey guys, how's it going? It's 8-Bit Eric. I know it seems like we're Cyberpunk Central here, but my god, has there never been a game that's been launched with more updates, news, fails than Cyberpunk? I mean, leading up to this game was uberly hyped. It was very questionable. I questioned it when I started seeing review outlets come out with 5 out of 5 scores and 9 out of 10s. I was like, there's no way in hell that this game is that good, especially when all those outlets were mentioning bugs that were very distracting. And on top of that, it was the PC versions that were being reviewed. It was revealed that CD Projekt Red did not want people posting console footage or console reviews of this because it was not ready. They admitted to it. They apologized for it, and this is still inexcusable to this day. With that said, a lot of news outlets, a lot of websites, reviewers are coming out finally and roasting Cyberpunk 2077 for what it was. Now, if you saw my review, I played this on the Series X. It was very glitchy, but I didn't have any crashes, didn't have any real serious game-breaking bugs, but nevertheless, it was still glitchy, kind of like Skyrim or Fallout. It still remains to be seen why they kept this hidden, why they put the game out even though they received death threats and they kept postponing it. Why didn't they just come clean about how it would perform? Why didn't they just keep it out another month or two? Who knows? But we're going to read IGN's review where they tear this game a brand new a-hole. We're going to look at it. If you're brand new to this channel, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscription button. Let's go ahead and read this so you can see if your only option right now is playing Cyberpunk 2077 on the base PS4 or Xbox One, we highly suggest you do not play it all until its many terrible performance issues are fixed. And you can see they gave it a 4. Bad. Cyberpunk 2077 on a base PS4 or Xbox One fails to hit even the lowest bar of technical quality. Jesus, one should expect. Even when playing on lower-end hardware. It performs so poorly that it makes combat, driving, and whatever it is, a mastercraft of storytelling legitimately difficult to look at. Alright, I'm sorry as I stutter all over myself. So, and what is otherwise a mastercraft of storytelling, legitimately difficult to look at. So they said the underperformance is incredibly difficult to look at. And again, leading up to this, no review outlet covered the console version of this game. They were all PC version only, and CD Projekt Red provided B-roll footage of a lot of this content. They literally forced people to use their content and to avoid talking about the game. Very inexcusable. Honestly, I don't think CD Projekt Red could come out of this. This was a very bad look for them. We're going to look at this article from IGN, the review itself, and we're going to read what they have to say because this is probably the most hard review on Cyberpunk. So here's their review for the base consoles. It says, while I had just as much fun playing Cyberpunk on PC as Tom did for his review, on the base PS4 Xbox One, it is a different game entirely. It fails to hit even the lowest bar of technical quality one should expect even when playing on lower end hardware. So this is what it said right here. Performs so poorly that it makes combat, driving, and what is otherwise a mastercraft of storytelling legitimately difficult to look at. It is not an exaggeration to say that I've felt nauseated after playing because of the terrible frame rate. This guy is going ham on it. It really is that bad, and it's very suspicious that CD Projekt Red refused to provide console review copies ahead of launch. And then you also got to remember they tried to do that embargo bullshit on top too. Very sus. So it says, in my original test on patch 1.02, frame rate dipped into the teens on Xbox One during key story moments involving combat, and while patch 1.04 promised more stability, it still struggles to maintain 30 frames per second and crashes are still frequent. At best, it will regularly crash to the system screen on Xbox One. At worst, it'll hardlock your system and you have to turn it off and on again. That just sounds like a complete headache, everybody. Having to deal with this. I feel sorry if you're having to play this on a base. Hopefully you got your refund. This is unexcusable. It says, in short, neither the PS4 or Xbox One is able to hold a steady frame rate, and they often freeze altogether for seconds at a time. On the base model Xbox One, it appears to be running at less than 720p resolution at times, though that fluctuates due to dynamic scaling. Even so, you can expect to see it drop as low as 10 frames per second during combat, which is all but unplayable, and it's around 20 FPS even when you're doing simple and routine things like walking outside in the introduction. That is not good. 720p, 10 frames per second during combat, 20 during walking. The PS4 is slightly better in performance and stability since patch 1.04, but at the sacrifice of texture load-in time. Characters will often appear blocky while you wait an agonizingly long time for their faces to show up to the party, and geometry or textures will sometimes fail to appear, even with all the effects like film grain and motion blur turned off. So some people suggest taking film grain off to make it perform better. It still seems like evidently it's not working according to this. They did post that update saying that there should be one in January and February, and that hopefully most of the technical problems should be done, but take it with a grain of salt. You never know. This is the company that lied about how consoles were performing. So both platforms have several major issues with the open world, such as signs that have no graphics at all until they eventually load in about 5 seconds later, making it impossible to navigate without the map, and explosions or effects that happen comically late or fail to trigger at all. It's not just visual. The enemy AI will sometimes break and won't shoot at you. And I've had that. I've had it where the enemies glitch out completely, like on boss fights and stuff. The excellent voice acting is one of the few things that hold up. Everything else is nearly unrecognizable compared to the PC version. Even the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, which have some problems of their own, are a huge step up from this technical mess. So, yeah. Definitely a harsh review. They didn't pull the punches, and again, it was kind of suspect that a lot of these outlets praised the game but did not mention. They failed to mention that they did not play the review for the console yet, and that I feel was a bit misleading on all fronts. I cannot believe that this company refused to do console releases and didn't mention any kind of bugs, didn't do anything, and had people spend their hard money on this. They're not the only company to ever do this, by the way. I'm not defending them when I say that, but this is a practice that is happening more and more with console games and with review outlets, and it's not right. So here's their verdict. If your only option right now is playing Cyberpunk on either of the base consoles, highly suggest you do not play it all until its many terrible performance issues are fixed. And if you already bought it and had an experience similar to what I described, you should absolutely get a refund if possible. The PS4 and Xbox One versions are simply not in an acceptable state, and it makes me sad to think that so many people are having their first Cyberpunk experience ruined this way. Because when it works, it's a fantastic RPG, and I gotta agree with that. I thought it was a lot of fun on the Series X, but not everybody has the newest hardware. This was made with last gen in mind. It should work properly with last gen, and it doesn't, and that is unacceptable, and it is not right. So get your refund if you can. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this review from IGN. I know IGN is usually not everybody's favorite outlet, but I would like to know what you guys have to say. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.